Well, I hope you're ready for some basketball tonight here at JPJ, the night the lights went out at John Paul Jones Arena. It began with a school record 9-minute and 46-second touchdown drive, and it ended with UVA's largest margin of victory in 3 seasons. In swimming, every millisecond counts, and Albemarle's Rachel Wong says small adjustments can make a big difference. Now, Wong is tonight's student athlete of the week. We are getting a couple of reminders out here that summer is coming to a close. Number one, they're getting ready to play football behind me here at Albemarle High School. Number two, this weather. It's like mid-September out here. This is perfect football weather here for the first night of the high school season. The approach for the UVA football team here in DC has been to start each day with football and then move on to the other experiences this bowl trip has to offer. They are a perfect 6-0 in midweek games this season. Oh, who do we have here? We got some company here at the Diamond getting you ready for the Who's. Now, I know you spend a lot of time around these current players, a lot of time talking to your former teammates. What's kind of the message Virginia Tech week? What's everybody saying? What are you saying to those guys who are getting ready to potentially snap that 13-game losing streak? You know, it's the first time the Who's have ever held an opponent in a bowl game to 0 passing yards. Of course, Navy didn't need to throw the ball. Ran for 452 yards. That's the most ever given up by UVA in a bowl game. Hunt scored the winning run on Taylor's walk-off hit that sent the Wahoos to the 2011 College World Series. Now, like the rest of us, Hunt is watching Taylor get it done on baseball's biggest stage. There will be no Sweet 16 for Tony Bennett's team this year. Instead, for the Cavaliers, the road ends here in Orlando. A lot of big games. This one may be the game of the year on paper, but first, it was about more than just football tonight at Louisa County High School. Before kickoff, the school honoring Coach Mark Fisher by naming the field at the Jungle in his honor. It's now known as Mark L. Fisher Field. Fisher's been battling multiple myeloma for the last 5 years now. He revealed this summer that this is going to be his final season coaching those Lions. Now, plenty of former Louisa players were back for the ceremony, lots of fans, current players as well, and for Fisher, well, it was an emotional night.
It's home, you know, and I mean, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to really, you know, be lucky enough to, one, find your purpose and mission in life, and two, to find the place that's the perfect place for you to live and raise your family, and then have the perfect job. And I've just been blessed that I've had all of that.
You know what else Fisher said? I've also got a game to coach. So we head out to that new Mark Fisher Field at the Jungle at Louisa County High School. The Lions have not been 7-0 since going undefeated in 2010 in the regular season. Monticello was looking to be 7-0 for the second time in school history. Opening drive of this one, Joe Whalen comes out of that scrum, down that right sideline, 33 yards for the touchdown. Just like that, Louise is out 7-0 early. Mustangs come right back, give it to Jarek Ayers. How about the second effort right there to get in from 6 yards out, ties it up at 7 apiece. Back come the Lions again. Whalen again, cutting back to that near sideline. Nice moves in there as well. How about 52 yards to the end zone this time? That made it 14-7 Lions. 6 minutes into this one, Whalen with 2 rushing touchdowns. Get that man some water. Still in the first. Malik Bell getting in on the action. Gets around that corner, and he goes down that near sideline. That's a 41-yard touchdown. It was 28-7 Louisa after 1 to the second quarter. More from the Lions, more from Joe Whalen. From 17 yards out this time, his 3rd touchdown run of the first half. Big night for Whalen. That made it 42-7 Louisa. And then after a Monticello fumble, Raekwon Jones from 3 yards out, he gets in on the action. It was 48-7 Louisa County at the half. They go on to roll. Mustangs will get a couple of late ones, but 62-21. The final there. The Lions are the team improving to 7-0 on the season as Monticello falls back to 6-1. Whalen 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 from Bell. He also threw for 1 as the Lions get ready for that battle for the Gordonsville Tasty Freeze next Friday.
CBS19's Damon Dillman recently took a look at life as a UVA manager through the eyes of a local kid on the staff this season.
Grant Kersey is getting to see UVA men's basketball from a new perspective this season.
Growing up, playing high school, playing middle school, all that, watching basketball, coming to UVA games as a kid, and then being able to still watch games, but being able to see them practice and be as involved as I am, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Kersey graduated from Albemarle High School last spring. Now he's a first-year manager with the UVA basketball program.
Just be able to be around the sport of basketball still, especially at this level, and to be around the coaches, the trainers, the players. They've all taken us under their wing, so just really cool to see behind the scenes and on the court how everything works.
Kersey is one of 10 student managers on the UVA basketball staff. Their responsibilities range from setting up for practices to breaking down film. It's a role that Tony Bennett admits he has a soft spot for.
I always tell our players, you want to see me lose my composure, get real angry, disrespect one of our managers, because all they do is serve.
First practice of the year is 6 in the morning, and they're here at 5:30. Or, you know, if you need somebody to stay late and you're trying to get shots up, they'll stay till, you know, until you finish. We try to treat them, you know, like they deserve to be treated because they're a huge part of this team.
They're part of the family. They're well respected. They serve an incredible, valuable role.
It's a big time commitment. First practice of the year was early, but I was ready. I was excited for it. I mean, everything we do is around basketball, so seeing all aspects of the sport, it's great.
The opportunity at UVA also gives managers like Kersey a chance to experience college basketball at the highest level.
It's something I'll never take for granted. I know walking out, seeing the crowd, everyone ready to go for the games, and then knowing what the players put in on the days in practice, coming in, getting extra shots up, the work that they've put in, that they're ready for it. I know what it feels like for me, and it's great, and I love game days. I can only imagine what it feels like for the players.
At UVA, Damon, Dillman, CBS19 Sports. Saturday was a historic night for the UVA men's basketball team for all the wrong reasons. UVA's 39 points against Florida, the lowest for the program ever in an NCAA tournament game. Also the lowest output for UVA this season. It's 26-point margin of defeat, the largest for the Cavaliers this year. There will be no Sweet 16 for Tony Bennett's team this year. Instead, for the Cavaliers, the road ends here in Orlando.
The thing that was frustrating is we really accomplished a lot this year, and then to end that way is what obviously really stings. It really does. London's had such an amazing career, and you know, it's part of life.
I don't even know what was going through my mind. It's a bunch of emotions, obviously. It was over for me. I couldn't do anything else to help extend my season, my career.
It's tough, man, because you don't ever want to go out like that, especially in somebody's last game. So it's just tough to watch. But our guys fought as hard as they could. They got away from us late in the first half, and we just weren't able to recover.
It's annoying, man. It felt like there was a lid on the rim. We were getting good looks in the first half too. Great looks. Shots just weren't falling. But I mean, shots aren't falling. We still got to do our job on the defense end.
We fought hard, but there's just too many breakdowns and just things that we probably could have done to keep ourselves in the game, and that's always what hurts, because you never want to look back and be like, I should have done this, I could have done this, and that's how you lose. I mean, we lost by 20, so that hurts even worse, but I mean, those kinds of things always stick with us, and I'll definitely never forget this experience.
With Saturday's loss, UVA ends its season at 23-11. Those 23 wins, the lowest for the UVA program since the 2012-2013 season. In Orlando with the Wahoos, Damon Dillman, CBS 19 Sports.
And CBS 19's Damon Dillman says that for some other pro players, this week is a crash course in a potential future career.
Let's see what happens in this sudden death overtime.
That's 5-year NBA veteran Kyle O'Quinn of the New York Knicks. He's spending the week at JPJ, calling games at the NBPA Top 100 camp.
Oh, it's super fun, especially when you're sitting courtside and you're watching these high flyers, you're watching dunks.
O'Quinn's one of the NBA players doing on-air analysis at the Top 100 camp. It's an extension of Syracuse University's Sportscaster U program.
2 great possessions by the Warriors.
8-year NBA veteran Jason Smith is also participating.
We're just trying to have fun with it. It's a lot being thrown at us, but as you do it more and more, you get to feel more and more comfortable.
Each player gets to call 2 games a day. On Friday afternoon, their play-by-play man was the voice of the Cavaliers, Dave Kane.
In a lot of ways, it's like drinking out of a fire hydrant. We're throwing a lot of things at these guys that they haven't seen before. I think these guys know the work and preparation that goes into being a player, but they don't quite have the understanding, or at least they didn't coming into the week, of what kind of work goes into being a broadcaster.
You see again that Naz Reid is giving Shih Tzu a little bit of problems right there.
That's even more challenging at the Top 100 camp, where the sportscasters in training are calling games involving high school kids they'd never heard of before this week.
There's a lot of prep work that goes into these games, and that's the thing that you kind of wrap your mind around. Is there's a lot of homework.
It's more than just sitting up there and having barbershop talk. on a live broadcast.
I'm sure the viewers want us to work together a little more.
You got to think, viewers at home don't want to just hear you talk about nothing. They want to be enlightened about the information that you have and you want to present over the network.
When you actually have to think about, oh man, I got to get this tidbit, or I got to get that tidbit, or I don't want to be too negative towards a player, and there's a lot of things that go into the dynamic of how you present yourself. And that's the hardest part, is getting that comfortable factor and then bringing your personality out.
At JPJ, Damon Dillman, CBS19 Sports. Well, if you follow UVA football on social media, you've probably seen the phrase "the new standard" the last couple of weeks. Bronco Mendenhall says it is a slogan that his players came up with on their own. And according to Donnie Dowling, it's about changing the perception of this now 4-1 UVA football program.
There's a ring to it, you know. It's a new standard. It's not the Virginia football. Oh, man, like, they almost win. They almost, so it's the new standard. Like, we're going to play hard, and if we don't win, you're going to be like, dang, that was a tough win.
Guys like me, Micah, Chris Peace, Quinn, we've been here for a long time. We've seen a lot, and I mean, obviously we haven't won a lot of games before this year, and we want to change that around. I mean, just leave this program better than when we got here.
People have stepped up and realized we can win now. It doesn't have to be a developing thing that takes Coach Mendenhall years to win here. And we have the guys to do it now, and I think that's sparked people once they realize that to step up and lead.
That's the main reason why I came back. I trust the process, and you know, we're just going to keep building from here, and you know, it's just amazing to actually see it work. And we've been trusting it since last year, and the off season was a really big step forward for us, and now look at us.
Quinn Blanding and the Cavaliers 4-1 for the first time since the 2007 season, and UVA has now won 3 games in a row for the first time since 2011. At Scott Stadium, Damon Dillman, CBS 19 Sports. Davidson awaits the UVA men's basketball team when the Wahoos return from their break for final exams tomorrow. The Wildcats do some things that could make it an interesting game at JPJ. Leading the nation in three-pointers made per game, also in assists per game. Davidson also has the fewest turnovers in the country. Wildcats are coming off their own 11-day break for finals. And despite those offensive stats, Davidson's just 4-3 going into that game tomorrow. The Cavaliers already have wins over 2 Atlantic 10 teams this season, VCU and Rhode Island. But Tony Bennett's got a lot of respect for Davidson coach Bob McKillop and his program. Tomorrow night's Covenant Blue Ridge boys basketball game is a late addition to the schedule. It's a scrimmage that doesn't even count in the standings, but organizers say the game is about more than basketball. It is the second annual Battle of the Blue fundraiser for the Charlottesville Area Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Last year's benefit game raised $1,000 for FCA. The game is also a way to generate more awareness for that organization, which holds a special place for the coaches on both benches. Well, tonight in Fargo, it is North Dakota State and Sam Houston State in the FCS National Semifinals. The winner of that game will head to Texas next month to face the winner of the other national semifinal set for tomorrow in Harrisonburg. Top seed JMU and South Dakota State. In that one, the Dukes will take the field riding that 25-game winning streak, still the longest in the country. They have won 16 straight at Bridgeforth Stadium. Now, victory tomorrow moves the Dukes 1 win closer to a second straight national championship.
That's it.
Well, Justin Fuente has won 19 games, a Coastal Division title, and last year's Belk Bowl in his 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. His Hokies now matched up with Oklahoma State in this year's Camping World Bowl in Orlando on the 28th. Fuente's roots are in Oklahoma. He grew up in Tulsa, played 3 years at quarterback at OU. He even spent time with the Oklahoma Wranglers of the Arena Football League.
My family still lives there. My mom and dad and my sister and her husband and their 3 kids, and I've got aunts and uncles. So we've got a lot of ties, you know, back home to Oklahoma. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, and you know, something we're proud of. I think that helped mold me and some of the values that I have today.
So Tech getting ready to head to Florida after the holiday season. UVA coming out of final exams break. We will hear from that UVA football team tomorrow as they turn their attention from final exams and toward their bowl game coming up on the 28th as well.